late drama in a couple of Champions League matches means that they leap to the top of the running order, starting off with Spurs against Sporting. Spurs were terrible in the first half of this game, 1-0 down, booed off by their home supporters. They rallied in the second half, so much so it looked like they'd won it all with the last kick of the game, Harry Kane finding the back of the net. However, a 4-minute VAR review would find that Kane was in fact offside, meaning that Spurs have to make do with a point. What that means, they now have to go to France and avoid defeat against Marseille to qualify for the next round of the Champions League. For more on this, let's welcome in Ali, Frank and Gab. I tell you what, boys, it was something else. Craig, you look at it as a Spurs fan, you thought that you just got those 3 points and then VAR take it away from you.
VAR's just ruining this whole thing.
Damn VAR.
I mean, the celebrations at the end for Tottenham with the players and the fans and Antonio Conte and all his staff, and then bloody VAR go and chop it off.
Yeah, Conte gets sent off as well.
Conte gets a red card, and I've not seen I don't know if we did see a replay of it, but
yeah, there's stills of it, and Harry Kane was ahead of the ball when it was headed back to him.
Which we're presuming with all the technology is the correct decision. It's black and white, it's on or it's off. It did take a little while, but I said to you as soon as I saw the replay, he looked as if he was just ahead of the ball. And the celebrations are dampened and the result sort of changes from 3 points to a point. But that's what the technology is there for at the end of the day. And every team in this group can go through now in the final match day. Everything's to play for. But Tottenham at home just leaving it too late. Yeah,
but it took the deflection off the defender, and obviously if he tried to play it, then it's a different matter. But because it was accidental, therefore the goal was rightly chalked. Who was trying to talk then? Was that you, Gab?
Yeah, look, I think this was so dramatic and there were so few replays, but I don't think that's why it was chalked off. From the replay I saw, I thought it was Emerson who was offside when he received the ball and headed it across to Harry Kane. And the fact hitting the defender, was Kane on, was Kane off, because the ball goes backwards from, or at least looks like it was in line or backwards from Emerson's head. So I suspect it was that. Obviously, it'd be a lot better if, say, taking a cue from maybe American sports, maybe that is something they could have, is just have the referee or the VAR say, hey, look, this is what happened. And that way we wouldn't be sitting here speculating.
Frank, it's fun, though, to watch. If you haven't got a horse in this race, it was a dramatic way for it to end, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. And, you know, when that thing happened and I saw Nazinho, in fact, giving the ball to Kane, I say, well, that guy is going through a nightmare because he missed 2 big chances before. I'm talking about the young Portuguese guy who came on. And he missed 2 big chances when Sporting were leading 1-0 and got the deflection for Kane when he scored. I want to talk to Gab about that. You know, that's not Emerson Royal was offside. It was definitely Kane. And I don't understand why, you know, if you put a ball backwards and it comes back to Kane from a defender, from the opponent, how come Kane can be offside? Well, that's a strange rule, but I would never understand it. I don't know if somebody can understand offside. But that was very dramatic because, you know, it's not something we have gone through with Craig or Ali when we played football. It must be very strange when you score a goal. You know that you scored. The ball comes from an opponent, so you say, well, there's no way it's going to be offside. And suddenly technology tells you, no, you were offside when Emerson gave the ball backwards, but you're still offside. Strange. For Spurs fans and also for Sporting, must be an awful feeling as well.
Gab, you sure you're watching the right thing here? Emerson was 2 yards onside. It was definitely the Kane.
From speaking to officials, speaking to former referees, they're saying that Kane was just ahead of the ball by a fraction.
I mean, he's just ahead of the ball, right? The ball comes in diagonal. He's just a fraction ahead of the ball, and it's technology, whether we agree or not. I don't know how tight it was because I say it's been limited. What we've seen, but it ruined it didn't ruin it. It got it right, but it just deflated the whole thing.
Well, exactly. And Conte furious afterwards, Ali.
I don't understand this. 1 second, Ali. I don't understand. We saw Eric Dyer around the referee. We've seen Davies at the end coming on and remonstrating with the Dutch referee. All these Tottenham players. I honestly think there has to be some sort of fine or reprimand whilst there's a VAR review going on. The referee has no idea, apart from a microphone and a headphone, to be surrounded by players. And you could clearly see the referee in the Tottenham game saying, listen, guys, I'm waiting on my instructions. Why are you, shouting at me and moaning at me when I can't do anything and until I'm given my instruction?
I want to bring Ali into the conversation because interesting stuff from Conte. Furious after the game, Ali, a man who famously after the Chelsea result said, I don't talk about referees, said, I would wonder if VAR would overturn that goal at another big stadium in Europe.
What does that have to do with anything? Do the lines that they draw, do those lines know what stadium those lines are being drawn in? Does those lines have a life of their own? This is nonsense. And mind you, to Craig's point about the attitude of the players and content, what have you, hey, you just wait. Atletico Madrid was even better than this. The truth of the matter is that people just cannot, for whatever reason, they can't seem to trust the system nor trust the referee. And because of the moment gets too big, then human nature just comes out and they somehow feel like if they yell at the referee, somehow that's going to change the personality of the lines and the lines are going to move backwards or forward or whatever, whichever way you need it. It's nonsense. It's the system that we work in, and you just have to believe that if the system is accurate, the player was offside, and we move on. But we've all played the game, and we know that in those sort of moments, man, when that call goes against you, you just lose it. You lose it. You lose that ability to control the situation, which is what you usually do when you're on the field. And when it's out of your control, you don't know what to do with it.
But back in the day, you thought you could. Even though you couldn't influence it, you thought you could influence it a little bit because it wasn't going for a review. But let me go back to the point about the big stadiums. Tottenham's quite a big stadium. They're a big club.
Beautiful stadium, new stadium.
And let's be frank about it. Sporting are hardly the loftiest club in the world with the most clout, are they? It's hardly Real Madrid have come to town, Bayern Munich have come to town, Barcelona have come to town. Oh, and the big guys, they've got the results and the big decision again. It's Sporting. It's Sporting. At the end of the day, when it's going to VAR, you're now questioning the clarity and professionalism of somebody who's looking at the technology.
Well,
it's black and white.
Just a reminder here that when we talk about VAR here, we're not talking about a guy in a booth drawing lines on a screen. We're talking about they have semi-automatic. What they used to call robot linesmen, then realized it was kind of stupid. So it's semi-automatic VAR, which basically means that they use 3D imaging. It's the same system they're going to use at the World Cup. I don't think the algorithm, the AI that puts this together, has specific biases. So I don't think you can argue with that. Again, whether it was Kane or Emerson, or maybe it was Kane. Maybe I got the wrong end of it on TV. But I think what you can argue about, and maybe that's what Conte thought, maybe it was something to do with the ball hitting the defender, although I don't see how that would be the case. That's the only explanation I can give. Otherwise, like I said, you're arguing with, literally you're arguing with a machine.
Hey, Frank, I'll tell you what, away from VAR, if I'm Spurs, how about you try and come out and play, I don't know, some football, try and score some goals
maybe win a game,
in the first half as opposed to blaming VAR?
I'm not sure I understand because Craig talked, but it's true. It's true that you can complain about the VAR and the decision. Yeah, Craig, please be quiet sometimes. That would be nice. I always talk.
Well, listen.
But yeah. No, but the thing is true that you can always complain about a VAR decision or whatever it can be, because maybe when you are such a poor half and first half, you have to find excuses for the behavior that you had on the field, and maybe try to complain about something who can give you, maybe an explanation of your poor performance. But it's true that Tottenham didn't do what they had to do in the first half to make sure they would win that game. And again, I talked about Flavio Nazinho in the second half, who had two clear chances, and I think Sporting had another chance where Hugo Lloris made a save. It could have been dramatic tonight for Spurs. Of course, there are chances with Dyer, for example, and another one, I think, and I forgot the player who was involved, but it wasn't enough. They only started to play, they only started to play for, I would say, the last 20 minutes, where it's always the same thing. It's like Chelsea. I've seen that with Chelsea, where When you reach a certain point of emergency, now you start to play vertical. Now you rush a little bit your passes. You try to give a reason. Why you don't do that before? Why you always calculate for 80 minutes, and when you feel the emergency, you start playing the way you should have played for 90 minutes? That's crazy.
But it wasn't the most. Why did we lead with this anyway?
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.